Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Tony was here Monday through Thursday, but today we have a twist.
It's Phil and Frank Friday, folks. Come on now. You knew I'd be here. Big weekend. Wow. Championship weekend.
Well, you were away for a while. Somebody missed you, apparently. Somebody. A few somebody. Welcome to PTI. Tony didn't have enough steam to finish when he started, so I am joined by our great friend from the starting lineup on Sirius XM, Mr. Frank Isola. Man, wow. 2 ovations. That's like one too many ovation for you. Let's begin with the NFC Championship game. Rams and Seahawks meet for the 3rd time this season. The first was a narrow win by LA in LA. The second was an overtime squeaker of a win by Seattle in Seattle. Frank, which of these teams impresses you more ahead of their rubber match, Rams or Hawks?
You know, I think about the Rams, and they've just won 2 road playoff games, which isn't easy to do. They beat your Bears over the weekend in overtime. That's impressive. And you know that they have played now this is going to be their 7th road game in the last 9 weeks. So all they do is go on the road. But going to Seattle is a little bit different. Yep. I'm not that worried about Matthew Stafford, even though Seattle has a terrific defense. Sam Darnold is going to be the key to this game. In 4 games against the Rams, with Chris Shula as defensive coordinator, he's 1-3, 7 interceptions. He had 4 of them in Week 11 when they lost in L.A. He's been sacked 16 times. So for Sam Darnold, that's going to be the big question mark. He was terrific against San Francisco. I understand that. But, Mike, this is the biggest game of his life. He hasn't played well against the Rams. Last year in the playoffs, he struggled. I think it's all about Sam Darnold. Even with, the 13th man in Seattle and that stadium, I get it. It's going to be about their quarterback this weekend.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you, Frank, on any of that. Because I know, as a Bears fan, I was hoping that we got to Seattle because you thought that Sam Darnold might throw a couple to your guys. Yeah, so I hear you there. But a couple of things. One, as difficult as Soldier Field is to play in, Seattle, forgive me, my hometown people, Seattle's harder. To me, it's there and Lambeau are the 2 hardest places to play in the NFL. And the Rams know this because they play there every year. The other thing is this. The Rams defense has not been great. Not been good at all. I know in the snow and the cold last week, they gave up 17, but they gave up like 460 yards. And so I think that Seattle, even with Charbonnet out, I think that they can muster enough offense as long as Darnold is not terrible. He can't be terrible. He can't go out there and throw 3 or 4 picks. He cannot throw it to the other guy. But if he manages the game well, with that defense, Frank, with that defense Seattle has, and again, the Rams defense has struggled. They struggled against Carolina before they even got to the Bears. So I'm giving the edge to Seattle at home. Maybe not a big one, but enough of one to advance to the Super Bowl.
And, in New York, Sam Darnold is obviously a big story. Yeah. Because, he played here in New York, kind of flamed out, bouncing around. He's been to the Super Bowl. He was a backup on that Niners team that went. And you talked about the Rams defense, Mike. 27 or more points in 4 of their last 6 games. Yeah, you can I'll give you an interesting stat as it relates to kind of Matthew Stafford and Seattle. There have been 6 times in the last 50 years where the top passer has gone up against the number 1 scoring defense. The defense is 6-0. So it's that old adage, you win with defense, and that usually plays out.
Seattle's got it.
All right, let's move to the AFC Championship game. Yes, the Patriots have a young star in Drake May, while the Broncos will be forced to start Jarrett Stidham. The Broncos, they led the league in sacks, and Mike, you love defense. So which way are you leaning, Patriots or Broncos?
I love defense. You know what? When I said Seattle and Lambeau, right there, Denver is a different kind of advantage. Not that it can't be loud, because it can. But obviously, you're playing at 52-80. You got another set of problems playing at Denver, and you're playing against that defense. Denver's right up there. So if I did a top 5 home field advantage, the 2 games hosting this weekend would both be in the top 5, maybe in the top 3. But Well, you don't have your quarterback. It's great that Sean Payton. I understand Sean Payton is doing and has done everything, Frank, he seemingly can. He can't play the damn game for him. You know, number 7 is not trotting out of the lineup into the lineup for the Denver Broncos. Number 7 of years gone by. You can look him up, all you people who have no memory. So I can't sit him. Good for him. He's tied with Peyton at the hip. He was the first guy he brought in. He's a capable backup, blah, 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 blah. Big, big, big advantage to New England having to play against a backup quarterback who hasn't played in more than 2 years. When I say hasn't thrown a pass, that's meaningful.
2 years.
The last pass he threw was picked. So no, I don't see it at all.
Yeah. Boys and girls, Michael Wilbon was just telling you that John Elway is not walking through that door.
Not walking through that door.
A couple of things, though, that I'll put in the Broncos' favor. By the way, they're 4-0 against New England all-time in playoffs. This New England team, 8-0 on the road this year. That's impressive. But the thing about this young quarterback, if this had happened in the first quarter of the game, Bo Nix goes down, you throw in Jarrett Stidham, that's tough. Sean Payton, and you could see, listen, he's arrogant. He loves to get into it with the media, but he is a good coach.
He's
had a week to prepare. They have that defense. They're playing at home. So I don't think
you're
it's
buying
going to be
in,
as
Frank?
big of an issue.
You're buying in?
See, you referenced John Elway.
Yeah.
And let's remember, and we all like Drake May, that's not Tom Brady on the other sideline.
No.
In 2 playoff games, the guy's been sacked 6 times.
Yeah.
He's been pressured 31 times on 66 dropbacks, and he's fumbled the ball 6 times. So if not for Jarrett Stroud, there's a very good chance Houston would be playing right now in this game. So he still has a lot to do.
C.J. Stroud.
He's been good in the Stroud. He's won 2 playoff games, Mike. That's great. But there are still some issues there as well. You're mentioning Elway. That ain't Tom Brady yet under center.
No, not yet. Now, Elway versus Brady, we would settle for that.
That would be pretty good.
Sorry, youngins. Let's move to the Ravens' hiring of Jesse Minter as their new head coach. Minter was most recently the defensive coordinator for the Chargers, but he also served as an assistant for the Ravens for 4 seasons. Owner Steve Bisciotti said of the 42-year-old, quote, "He clearly understands the values, high expectations, and history of the Ravens. He's also a leader who will authentically connect with our players and inspire them to championship levels," close quote. Bisciotti seems persuaded that the Ravens have got a gem, Frank. Are you?
I want to know if you think authentically connect is a little dig at the last coach. I tend to think it's not, because Minter worked for both Jim and John Harbaugh. And with the Chargers, last season led the league, 17 points per game their defense gave up. This year, 5th in terms of yards per game, and the Ravens were 24th. And I think the Ravens have always been an organization where they think defense first. So, and he knows that organization. He knows the owner. I think that's a plus. But you're also, if you're going to be a coach, a first-time coach in this league, you want to go to a team that's got a quarterback.
Yep.
And I understand it's been a down year for Lamar Jackson. There have been some playoff games where he hasn't played well. Other games he's been a little unlucky. Last year against Buffalo, the 2-point conversion, that game should have gone into overtime. So I think it's a smart hire from them. They know who they're getting. The coach knows all about the organization from top to bottom. The key for them is they have to improve the defense. Probably personnel has a lot to do with it. Offensive coordinator. I think that's going to be a big position to fill.
Yeah, Frank. I have always been impressed with Steve Bisciotti and the way that organization runs, which is what he presides over. The way he stays out of the way until he needs to insert himself. And obviously, the hiring of a head coach is that. And I believe that Steve believes that. But I ain't buying any of it until I know what Lamar Jackson's situation is. You can be as good as you want. If your quarterback has taken a drop for whatever reasons, and I'm looking at Lamar Jackson, and I started asking the question about week 4. How come Lamar Jackson now cannot outrun people with a jersey number that starts with a 5? You're not doing it. Maybe it's injuries. Yeah. Maybe we get the real Lamar Jackson back. I hope so. I am not ready to wave bye-bye to vintage Lamar Jackson. We should just be – the door should be wide open, but we don't know that. And Jesse Minter can't determine it, and he can't fix it, and he can't put it back on track if it's off track. So there's too much we don't know. I understand Bisciotti feels good about this hire, a guy he already knows who might connect authentically. All that's great. Lamar Jackson. He's got to be the answer to most of what's going on with the Baltimore Ravens.
And I agree with what you're saying about Lamar Jackson. Let's also remember, on the final week of the season, he put his team in position, a field goal, and then he's playing the following week.
Yeah.
So, and even in a poor season, he still put his team in a position to win and make the playoffs.
Against a pretty mediocre Pittsburgh team. But I digress.
That's fair.
Let's take a break. Still to come, a new report says Jeannie Buss had problems with LeBron. What's a word for LeBron's reaction?
I got a word for that. And what's the best way to describe Joel Embiid's performance against the Rockets last night? That was a pretty interesting ending. Should have been a goaltend on Kevin Durant.
You think so? Should have been a goaltend?
Yeah, definitely. But that's why Philly got bailed out. The game.
Time to fill in some blanks with Fill In Frank. What's first?
When LeBron says he doesn't care about the report that Jeannie Buss had problems with him, he sounds blank.
He sounds dismissive, Frank, and I would say justifiably dismissive. Because, look, it seems like a well-reported, interesting yarn. If you're curious about the goings-on, backstage of an NBA team, particularly the one that produces the most gossip. But it's just, it doesn't matter. And so LeBron basically stood there at his locker and answered very, perfunctorily, I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I just found myself nodding. And I am a Jeannie Buss fan. So I don't want to have to declare sides here, but I'm a Jeannie Buss fan. But LeBron's right. It doesn't matter. And so he was dismissive. Am I being too cavalier? Am I being too dismissive?
No, I don't think you are. My word is exhausted. And if you go back, about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, his agent, Rich Paul, is on a podcast with Max Kellerman.
Yeah.
And Rich brought up the idea of trading Austin Reeves for Jaren Jackson Jr.
He just dumped him. He just threw him off the team.
So guess who had to address it, Mike? LeBron James.
He
has to address something that's on another podcast.
Yeah.
Now he has to address something that Jeannie Buss allegedly said. He must be thinking, listen, folks, I'm 41 years old. I'm still trying to compete with these young guys. My son is on the team. I got another son in college. I got my daughter here as well. Why do I have to answer everything? I think that's why he's a little tired of it. But I kept thinking about this. Whatever Jeannie Buss allegedly or didn't say, I guarantee you something along those lines was said in Cleveland and Miami, and now allegedly it's been said in
Miami
LA.
would have been
and
tougher.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Yeah, but hang on. Guess what? They won in all those places. So LeBron has done right by the Lakers. They've done right by him. They've helped his brand. They drafted his son. Dismissive, exhausted. I think it all applies. At 41 years old, he doesn't want every day to be the story about him from somebody on the outside. You could tell he's a little tired.
I agree 100% with that. Let me just push back a little bit. In that it was a really cool exchange. LeBron was very engaged. He really is in those post-game exchanges. You and I know we've been there for those. Yeah. And he's like the best person to talk to in those situations. But when LeBron goes to the part where he says, I don't care about podcasts, what? He's got a podcast.
He's got one.
His agent has a podcast.
That's
Say
right.
what? So we're not going fully down that road with LeBron, but I don't blame him. There's no need to care. There just isn't. Yeah. What's next?
Joel Embiid's performance last night was blank.
Wow. It was flashback, Frank. And the part that gets me, there's the points and the rebounds, and he had whatever he had, 30-something, teen-something. He played 46 minutes.
Yep.
Listen, if you said to me, tell me whether or not he is capable of playing 40, I'd say no. Knowing full well he played 40 once in this recent stretch. 46 for Joel? This is actually encouraging considering Maxey is third in scoring in the league at 30 points a game, and rookie VJ Edgecombe, by April, he may be able to put some games up there when you're playing with Maxey and Embiid and the cast where you could do something if you're Philly. But I'm going to say flashback, wow, I don't know how sustainable it is, Frank, but when he plays like that, it reminds you of his MVP season, Mr. Embiid.
You're 100% right, and that's why my word is timely, because you're talking about the minutes played. That's the most minutes he's played in a game since December of 2022. So it's been a while, and this recent stretch that he's on, he's played in 10 of their last 12 games. In 8 of them, Mike, he's been over 31 minutes. In 2 of them, he's gone over 40. So let me give you a little hypothetical here, because now Tyrese Maxey is the guy. Embiid's not going to play him back-to-backs, but he's proving now, because his minutes have gone up every month, so is his production. All right, if they get to the playoffs and he's healthy and Paul George is healthy and you have Maxey, you have VJ Edgecombe, you have Kelly Oubre, who, by the way, has played well when he's been healthy.
Yeah.
And then you have Drummond, Grimes coming off the bench, and you also have
a coach in Nick Nurse who wears something called a championship ring. Yeah.
So tell me, would you like, it's hypothetically, if they have to cross their fingers in Philly for those guys to be healthy, do you like their chances in the Eastern Conference?
It depends, Frank, entirely on the matchup. Do I like them against Detroit? No. Maybe against the Knicks. It's interesting, and the Knicks have, have been the team that
twice.
Yes, presumably the Knicks are going to ascend in the absence of Boston and Indiana, but Boston isn't absent. Boston's still there. Yeah. So I hear you, and it becomes much more interesting. Look, it's a much more interesting conference and league if Joel Embiid is healthy and playing 35 minutes a game, much less 40.
Yeah, and what he's not going to do, Mike, the whole it's over.
No back-to-back. He won't have
back-to-back.
They won't be scheduled.
You're not going to see him.
That's right.
That's right.
That's it. I think we can all agree Frank just got spanked. Let's take one last break. Coming up, the College Football Playoff Committee decides how many teams will get spots next season.
And Giants quarterback Jackson Dart makes a bold prediction.
I'm about to get tired of Jackson Dart. Already. I'm about to.
Got to stay out of that blue tent.
Time to get happy, people. Happy 58th birthday, Peter Korda. Korda had notable success as a tennis player, winning the 1998 Australian Open and making the final of the 92 French Open. He also achieved a level of notoriety due to testing positive for a steroid that he's maintained he didn't knowingly ingest. But if you're familiar with the Korda name these days, it's got to be due to the sporting success of his 3 children. Son Sebastian has won 2 titles on the ATP Tour. Daughter Jessica has won 6 LPGA titles. And, of course, daughter Nelly has won 15 tournaments on the LPGA Tour, including 2 majors, and is ranked number 2 in the world today, Frank.
He was a pretty good tennis player. Why do you think so many of these guys, it seems like, and ladies, they kind of persuade their kids to go into golf? Why is that?
They're around it. They're around it every day.
Athletes, right?
Yeah. I love watching.
It becomes like their passion.
Watching the Korda women play on tour. Happy anniversary to the Buffalo Bills on this day 32 years ago. The Bills just crushed the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game to make it to their 4th straight Super Bowl. No other team has ever made it to 4 straight Super Bowls, not even the Patriots. Of course, the Bills famously lost them all. In this particular year, they go on to fall to Troy Aikman and the Cowboys for the 2nd time in a row. Then head coach and my fellow Chicagoan, Marv Levy, recently celebrated his 100th birthday. The franchise hopes a new head coach can restore and even exceed the success that Levy brought. Today, Buffalo interviewed Phillip Rivers for that job, Frank.
That's an interesting candidate. Getting back to that AFC Championship game, I was actually there. That was the game where Montana got hurt. So he was the quarterback for Kansas City. The running back was Marcus Allen.
Ooh,
a little weird seeing him in those
There's some stars in both those title games. I think I was at Dallas, San Francisco. Happy trails for now to an expanded college football playoff. The CFP Management Committee announced this morning the playoff will remain a 12-team affair for the 2026 season. There had been such internal debate about expanding to 16 or even 24 teams, absurdly enough, but the Big Ten and SEC reportedly could not agree. What a shock. There will be changes to the composition of the field, though. Power 4 conference winners will now get the automatic bids. The highest-ranked group of 6 champ gets in, and so does Notre Dame if it finishes in the selection committee's top 12. God spare me. if those rules were in place this year, 5-loss Duke would have been in the field, Frank.
12, 16, 24, there's going to be fighting. My only thing would be Indiana played 16 games this year. So now what are they going to play? Now you could have
18?
a team that plays 17 games.
Or 18, you're going to 24? Seriously?
Mike, I do think with 16, though, I think these top-seeded teams, they want to play a game at home. Think about what that does for the economy. You get another home game.
Right.
I don't have a problem with 16, but that's a lot of games.
It should be
really
8 teams. That'll be the final word for now.
There'll be a lot of fighting.
Here. One correction. The Broncos are 4-0 all-time against the Patriots in Denver. We're running out of show. Let's get to the big finish. Fernando Mendoza has officially declared for the draft. Do you like his NFL prospects?
I like his arm. I like his savvy. I like his brains. But what else was he going to do, Mike? He did everything in college. Heisman Trophy, National Championship, and he's MVP. Did the right thing. Jonathan Kuminga left last night's Warriors loss to the Mavs after twisting his left ankle and hyperextending his left knee. Is that a cause for concern?
Yes, it is. When you got a guy you don't know if you're trying to trade him or not, you should be trading him. Trinity Rodman has signed a 3-year deal with the Washington Spirit worth up to $6 million total. Significant?
It's good for the league here. A lot of rumors about her going over to Europe to play. Giants quarterback Jackson Dart said he expects to do, quote, a whole lot of winning under John Harbaugh. Your thoughts?
Let's not get carried away. Last one, women's college hoops. Number 16 Oklahoma beat number 2 South Carolina in OT. You got to be surprised.
Yeah, they beat him by 12. How about Aaliyah Chavez, what she did in overtime? Really impressive. We're out of time. Thanks for watching. I'm Frank Isola.
I'm Mike Will Bond. Have a great weekend, knuckleheads. I don't know my name. Here's Sports Center.
Monday, let's go to Mike and Frank with our PTI bonus topic.
All right, Frank, NFC or AFC, which is the more interesting conference championship game?
All right, so you got the third time around for the Rams and the Seahawks, but I'm going to go out to Denver. I think before the season started, I don't think a lot of us thought we'd see the Patriots in Denver playing the Broncos to go to the Super Bowl. And the Patriots have come all the way back. New coach, new quarterback, great team, one win away from going to a Super Bowl. 8-0, they are on the road, but the organization, the Patriots, have never won a playoff game in Denver. They're 0-4. And what's interesting about this game, you have the young quarterback Drake May, the MVP candidate. Then you have Jarrett Stidham, who has not thrown a pass, Mike, since January of 2023. So it's been a while since he's done anything. And I think for Sean Payton, it's a big-time challenge for him. And I think he looks at it as you're going to give me a week to prepare my guy to play with the defense that I have in Denver. I like my chances. I think that game has a lot more intrigue than people think.
Yeah, the losing of the starting quarterback in Denver, Bo Nix, takes a lot of the luster off that to me. And even if he was there, though, Frank, I'm going to go with the third time between two division opponents in 1 year. We just saw the Packers and the Bears do this, and look how incredible the third game was. The two games have been close, razor close. There's no reason to think that the third one won't be close between the Rams and Seahawks. Offense versus defense. The presumed MVP out there in Matthew Stafford in a place that just has a magical feel to it. I presume you've been to a game in Seattle. If you haven't been to a playoff game there, it reverberates. It is just an incredible place to watch a playoff game. No, I'm going with that game. I feel bad that Denver doesn't have his quarterback. I mean, we can go back over time. You can find a case here, a case there, where somebody had a few snaps. Roger Staubach in 1972, played some snaps in the previous game, and then he wound up playing the bulk of the championship game. So it's not completely unprecedented, but NFC. I'm not going to say it's Ali Frazier, Frank, but it's two heavyweights throwing at each other.
Yeah, 2 years since Jarrett Stidham threw his last pass. Let me ask you a question. The league office right up the street, they want to see a backup quarterback in the Super Bowl in a couple of weeks? No. Not so sure.
And that's why
that's it.
The
We're
answer
done.
to this
Back
question is Seattle, L.A.